thought I would take the opportunity, now that I have finished all of these, to give you a little flip through. This is 3 different books that I've attached together, just weaving some different scraps of fabric that I've been working on since the spring. I think started around May. So we're gonna flip through them in parts. I'm gonna do the first book today, or for this video, and the following books will be in separate videos. Otherwise it's gonna be super long, but I thought I would give you a little flip through. I made 3 of the same books. They're all junk journals with random papers that I've been collecting, and I made 3 of the same kind, but I've used them all for different either challenges or prompts or just for whatever I wanted to put in them. So to start off, we're going to go back to May, and this is what I created for Messy May. I like to do my covers at the end because they get super filthy. As you can see, I decided to leave some of that evidence of just working and picking up little bits around my desk. This has still gotten a little rough, but I've made my covers at the end just so that they'd stay in a little bit nicer shape. They're still getting worn, which I actually kind of like. So here we go with book 1. Oh, maybe this wasn't Messy May. This might have been actually earlier, before Messy May. So Messy May will be book 2. This is just a play. It was trying to get back into creativity after a pretty hard season of unknowns and not quite sure what we were doing. And all of my stuff had been packed away, and I dug through our storage unit to find some, and then started collecting all of these kinds of papers at the thrift store and stuff like that, and found my way back to making. So a lot of it is art journaling, collage, flowers, colors, crinkly papers. So I'll give you a little flip through. Some pieces like this one were inspired by other works that I had found and was testing out colors because I just felt so lost. My brain was just on overdrive of stress and decision fatigue and navigating these unknowns, creating new routines, that I lost my creativity. And so I decided I would use this book, because I'm not selling it, as an exercise of just making again. So this was an inspiration, this was inspired, and I can try to find these and then link them in the description below. I was still practicing my daily Bible reading and had lots of influence through scripture, of course. And it was fun to be able to use and find in my stash of the little box of art stuff that I found papers that I made while we were in Florida and drawings that I did a long time ago and repurpose them. I forgot to make something to go in this little pocket, but maybe that can be a secret place for later. A lot of this was also just wanting to use my stash of collected papers. I have quite a lot, and it's really easy to collect more. And so I wanted to keep them from being so sacred that they just stay in the basket, to let them be sacred and special and used. I love the bit of gold on this bit of cedar here. Room for journaling if I want to in the future. Some people do ask if I actually journal in them. Sometimes just the act of making is the journaling in itself. I don't always write like diary or journal entries like that. Or sometimes it's just a little sentence. I think this was the very first page that I painted in this book. It was also fun doing stuff without color, because monotone pages are a rarity in my work because I love jewel tones and color. So it was nice to have those. Actually, this was an example of journaling as well. This was clearly I was trying to figure out what do we need in our life and what do we not. And at this exact moment, because I was having such creative struggle, for the last year, I've been going back and forth on whether to continue making art for myself or art for sale. So far I keep making some art for sale, but a lot of art for myself. It's a lot of work to sell your art versus just make it, and a lot of pressure to make art that you don't want to be judged by or things like that. So it's just every day it feels like a back and forth whether I need to let go of the business side or keep a hold of it. This was a challenge because I find that portraits are a definite weakness of mine, as are animals, and I thought I'm going to figure out how to push myself to draw a face, and it definitely needs a lot of work, but she also just looks pretty peaceful. This is where my junk journaling comes in. This was the lid, this was the seal on a new package of this gold paste stuff, and it was just too pretty with the gold to not keep. I am trying to not keep every bit of everything because I'm sure it would drive my husband crazy if I kept it all. This was an exercise in minimalism, less is more, to see if I could restrain myself, because I tend to be a more is more type person in my art, but I do love the gentleness and the simplicity of this and the gold. This is also some journaling. In the background, I wrote, "There is so much noise in this house," or "the noise is so much, the noise is so much, the noise is so much." This whole page. Clearly, I was overwhelmed by the amount of noise in our little apartment and was seeking to find the quiet. I've also played a lot of Yahtzee in the last couple of years. And this was a pack of cards or scorecards that I had found at the thrift store where there was a few that were filled out, and so I love that this is actually someone else's game, not one from our family, and it's just kind of cool to see. I like how I can analyze how do people write their numbers, or do they erase or scratch things out, just seeing like that journey of other people. This was a butterfly that I made but ended up gluing in here. It was going to be a trial of a new art collection, and I was working out to see if it was something I wanted to do, and I actually ended up hating the process of making it, but it was a lot of work, and my kids thought it was really beautiful that I knew I had to keep it, so it lives in here instead of in a collection. And after working through all my pages, this quote really resonated with me because I was a lot of looking in the past and being not nostalgic, but more lamenting about things that we had to leave behind and things that I had to give up. And instead, I knew that I could start again. And that's the end of book 1. Come back for book 2.